A secret spirit drew its mighty breath, contracting and expanding this huge world. The secret might of the creative fire displayed its triple power to build and form. Its infinitesimal wave sparks weaving dance, its nebulous units grounding shape and mass, magic foundation and pattern of a world, its radiance bursting into the light of stars.
Painting and spirituality have always been synonymous for Hungarian-born artist Marika Popovits. Painting since she was 6 years old, she thinks of her work not only as an expression of spirituality, but also as a tool of her own spiritual evolution. Her painting has always been in the service of an ascent to higher consciousness, and she believes that all forms of art are ultimately this.
The most sacred role in art has always been to actually reveal a deeper, higher truth.
Trained at an early age in the classical and figurative traditions, Marika later felt that abstract painting was a better interpretation of her inner experience. She is clear that her work is a symbolic representation, and the creative force behind her art is part of something larger.
Non-doership is something that is familiar to almost everyone who's is in a creative process, because all the aha experiences one has are always miraculous, and one never knows where they came from, and you certainly were not the one who did it. So you do something that is not you moving, and it's not your hand, it's your hand physically, but it's not your hand because it has no volition of its own. It actually moves out of that one consciousness, and it tends to move fairly slowly. That movement and that motion is actually coming out of the infinite and moving your hand, so that your hand, in this case, my hand holding the brush, was just the last finite point of that one action, of that one consciousness, that one hand moving through my arm and my finger and through that brush.
Although she works primarily with oils, Marika also uses watercolor to explore her vision for larger bodies of work.
That was what resulted in these 4 paintings. So you see the luminous black being projected through and onto this veil. The first one, it was more like an embryonic state. The second one was really like the spewing forth of creation out of this black sphere. And then the next one, the third one, represents this explosion as it is actually being pushed through these veils. This particular one, this fourth one, is almost to me like a mechanical, like a galactic cog, series of cog wheels that create, through their spinning force, these universes. Because each one of these creations is really a universe in itself.
Marika has spent years refining an early oil painting technique that she felt conveys the luminosity of her vision. This process of Renaissance glaze combines dry pigment with a complex egg yolk emulsion that gives the work a luminosity from within, rather than reflecting the surface of the paint.
I call an imprimatura because usually I give it a pale yellow glaze over the white, and that the combination of the white shining through the pale yellow, and each one of those shining through the subsequent colors, actually gives you the light from within rather than the light from the surface. So the difference between an oil painting and this glaze painting is that the light shines from within the painting rather than reflecting from the surface of the painting. When someone sees these paintings, a memory can be triggered, or a recognition can be triggered, but it can only be triggered because it's in you. You are that, you know that. And so, for instance, when I read Sri Aurobindo's, when I read Savitri, for me, it's always been a memory of the future. I said, yes, yes. And I know I don't remember having lived that, but I know that it is true. And how do I know it? Because I have lived it. Because I am that, but it might be in this timeless dimension which is simultaneously past, present, and future.